Spy glasses. That's what these new Oakley and Ray-Ban Meta glasses remind me of. I mean, they're pretty sick, but is there really a difference between the two, or is it just aesthetic? Matter of fact, they're catching on really well. It's kind of crazy. Has this ever been done before? You know, the whole camera and glasses thing? Hmm. That's right. I used the new Oakley and Ray-Ban Meta glasses for the past week, and I've got to say, it's been a pretty fun experience. Really, it just felt like a different type of tech experience because just like when you buy a new cell phone, for the most part, unless it's a foldable, most of the cell phones all feel the same. Or a smartwatch, like it may give you one or two new features, but they all feel the same. But all of a sudden, smart glasses, that's a little different. So for me, the first really cool moment that I had with these glasses was just when I put them on. And typically, if I'm outside, I'll have like an earbud in and I'm just playing some music while I'm doing whatever I'm doing. And it started playing through the glasses. And it was just like, oh, this is pretty dope. Now, of course, it's not going to have like the deepest bass or whatever, but for your sunglasses, it sounds pretty good. That being said, it did throw me off a little bit because I do play like flag football and ultimate frisbee, and just running around and having music playing, it just actually it made me really quiet because usually I'm like yelling at my teammates, like trying to communicate and trying to like work as a team, you know, the whole team sports thing. And all of a sudden I got music playing and I realized I hadn't said anything in like 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm just kind of like vibing. So it it went from like being a pickup game or a league game to like making me be more in practice mode, which it helped me focus, but it did not do anything for my team communication. So yeah, the whole idea of having a camera for glasses, like people spot it, and when they do, then they kind of get the deer in headlights look, like, "Are you filming?" And they're doing all this stuff, and you're just like, "Get out of my face! I'm not filming." If I was filming, there'd be a light, and then you have to show them what it looks like to film, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, you're not filming," but they're still kind of like they like freak out about it. So a little weird. Cool side of things. So I'm wearing the sunglasses. I'm in the grocery store, and like my mom calls. I can't remember who called, but anyway, I answer the phone, and so I'm like walking around talking on the sunglasses, and like I see somebody, they see me, and they're just kind of like, and you know, they kind of do the check, like there's no earbuds, there's no like Bluetooth headset. What is happening here? And you're just walking around like you're just talking to yourself, and it's like, well, I see why you're looking at me crazy. And I could explain what I'm doing here, but I'm not. I'm just going to let you walk around thinking that I'm crazy talking to myself through the grocery store, which is kind of fun in itself. It's those fun awkward moments. Also, being able to access Meta on the fly is pretty cool. Like I didn't have to reach in my phone and Google something. I could just ask questions, and as long as it's something a little bit more set in stone, then it would get it. Now, sports stuff, stuff that it can change, then maybe not as much, but still overall a pretty good job of handling it. So, also wearing those glasses really was inspiring. So, if you're any sort of like content creator, then it just gave you a lot of thoughts on what type of content you could produce that would be from first person view. So, it definitely got like the creative juices flowing. Also, it really gave an interesting perspective on just different things like driving, or if you're cooking, or anything where you would typically have like maybe a GoPro like somewhere up high so people can see exactly what you saw. Now it's on your sunglasses, and let's say if you're cooking, you wear clear lenses, like people can see exactly what you see. If you're driving, go-kart track, like it kind of eliminates the need for a GoPro, um, in some regard. Obviously, it's not as sturdy as a GoPro. Doesn't record as long as a GoPro. Camera quality. I mean, there's lanes here, but just being able to pull something out of your pocket, put it on your face, and go. is kind of a shortcut versus a GoPro. The legs on the glasses are a little thicker, so like they don't slide in a helmet when I'm talking about like go-karts or motorcycles or racing on the track. So that part a little unfortunate, but at the same time the battery's got to go somewhere. So I get it. But putting those things on and racing around a track just sounds like so much fun. Battery life seemed to be really good. Now, just walking around, listening to music, answering phone calls, talking to Meta about different questions, I didn't have any issues with battery life. I made it through the day easily. It wasn't until I actually started like recording a lot to where I noticed that the battery would just plummet. I thought the battery life was really good. Now, I did use it for regular real world use, like listening to music, answering phone calls, your occasional Meta question. But then I also took it to one of my pickup flag football games, and I was wearing the Oakleys. I let my buddy use the Ray-Bans, and we tried to shoot every single play. And the games last probably about an hour and a half, and we made it through. Now, granted, the Oakleys were close to dead, and the Ray-Bans weren't as close, but I think that was because he didn't record every single play versus I did. But it made it through, and the quality was actually pretty good. So I was very happy with that. But on the other side of things, so one of our other buddies was also wearing a pair of Ray-Ban glasses that he owns. And there was a collision that happened. I think he was coming across the middle trying to catch a pass, and a defender tried to jump the route. Anyway, they collided, and I'm pretty sure like the leg of his Ray-Ban glasses like cracked. It wasn't something serious, but it did crack. So I don't know how easy it would be to replace one of the little legs on the glasses. But when that happened, then all of a sudden I started thinking like, well, my buddy's wearing the $400 pair of Ray-Bans and I'm wearing the $500 pair of Oakleys. And I was like, all right, maybe we should take these things off and put them back in the case. So now I did put his back in the case and I finished with mine because I try to be a little bit more aware not to have any collisions. Not saying that he wasn't, but just saying that I didn't look for any hazardous moments. I was avoiding them, but I made it through the game. The glasses were, like I said, running low. I threw them in the charger for the drive back, and by the time I got home, I put them back on and never had another issue as far as battery for the rest of the day. So after that incident, then durability became a concern for me. It was just like, all right, what can I do with these glasses and what can't I do? And after doing a little bit of research, I saw that the Oakleys were definitely a little bit more durable. Now, they also felt a little thicker, but they have the IP68 rating. So I felt a little bit more comfortable doing stuff like taking them to the beach for beach football. The Ray-Bans, not so much. And I mean, I get it. It's just the Ray-Bans are one of those glasses that I could see me wearing anywhere. Like you could wear them in the house, you could wear them on a drive, you could wear them at a wedding, you could wear them anywhere. Versus the style of glasses for the Oakleys, like the whole sporty wraparound, you can't wear those anywhere. Like you're not going to dinner wearing those things. Granted, they're more durable, also more expensive, but you can't wear them anywhere. And so that was a downside. I did think the camera on these were pretty cool. It's always interesting how somebody will like run and do something and they think it's really cool, like especially if they're playing sports. And you go back and you see it when you're wearing glasses like this, and then you forget that your body is moving up and down and the footage is just all over the place. But I feel like the stability on these made it much better than what I expected. So I was very surprised by that. The camera on both of these glasses is 12 megapixels. Now I can shoot at 1080 at both 30 and 60 frames, or it can shoot in 3K at 30 frames. So not bad. Another thing I noticed, the Ray-Bans at 1080, you can record up to 3 minutes. Now with the Oakleys, you can record up to 5. Keep in mind, it's still going to tax that battery more, but at least you got a little bit more time. The Oakley glasses also came with an extra button, and I was very curious as to the functionality of this extra button, but it wasn't anything crazy. It was basically Like the touchpad, not swiping where it does the volume, but just tapping. Like you can set that up to do like Bluetooth for the music or like accessibility or like Meta or something like that. And this was just like the opposite. Like you could switch them if you wanted to add an extra function. And now that I think about it, it's like, okay, yeah, bringing up Spotify, which is like the only music app, at least that I have, that is capable of connecting with. That's cool, but I kind of wish there was something else it could connect with. Like I'm not exactly sure what that would be. Like even if it was like Google Maps and you would just like navigate me here and it would like I don't know, just give me a little bit more functionality besides music. Actually, what would be really cool for like a future rendition of these glasses is just like, let's say it connected with like Google Meet or FaceTime or any of the video calling platforms, and say somebody calls you and they're just like, "Hey, where are you at?" And you're like, "I'm not really sure." But you could share your screen, like your video, and be like, "Look, this is what I see. Like, where am I?" And they could be like, "Oh yeah, you just walk down there and take a left over there." Just like something like that would be really cool. Or like if you're trying to explain something to somebody, like, "Oh, you have to do this and this and this," and you like just look at what I'm doing, and they could see what you're doing, and could replicate that. Like that would be really cool for a future rendition. And I'm sure at some point it will come, but that's just that'd be awesome. The camera was okay with low light photos and video. Like it is to be expected. It is just a $400 pair of glasses, not some $1,000 smartphone. So it was decent. And most of the time, if you need to record something in low light, you're just going to pull out your phone anyway. So to get by in a pinch or just to like capture a moment really quick, it's okay. Now, I think these glasses are super cool, but this is far from the first time that some company has put a camera on some sunglasses. Now, back in 2012, there was this company called Pivot Head who had glasses. They were center mounted, they shot in 1080. Cool. Well, come 2014, they released a different pair. It was called the Pivot Head Smart. They had a little touchpad where you can swipe around and stuff. It had two buttons. It shot in 1080, just like the other ones, but it could use a micro SD card, and it had battery attachments that would connect at the end of the legs. So really your record time was limited to how many additional battery packs you had. Now, the legs on these were a little thick, and with the additional battery packs, it did have a little bit more weight. But not only that, you could choose between using a battery pack, which you always use the battery pack, but then on the other leg, they had a live mod. So you could connect it and you could like connect to their website and you could live stream whatever you were looking at, which I thought was amazing. I know live streaming is like really bad for battery life in general, but if you have X amount of battery mods, then it really doesn't matter. Although I do wish they would have given you a better option in terms of like hot swapping batteries. But anyway, the glasses were really cool. Now I've gone back and looked at the videos, and going back and looking at a video from 2014, it always gives you that vibe of like when you go back and look at a movie from the 80s that you had recorded, and this is like, why does it look like that? Like, did it always look like that? Or in my head, was it like crystal clear? And now that I've seen 4K content, now this just looks horrible. Like, go back and look at a basketball game from like 1998 and look how bad it looks. So there were some good moments. I played in dodgeball leagues and in flag football and kickball, and I took these things everywhere. So I really didn't. And this was before like all the IP ratings and whatnot. I was just like, I don't care. I'm wearing them wherever, which might be an issue now because, granted, it's what 13 years later. So I don't think they work anymore. Like they'll power up and I'll see the light, but like the battery mods and all that stuff, I don't think they're functional, and that's okay because for the time that I had them, like it produced a lot of really fun moments. So it's really cool seeing a company as big as Meta go back down this path and with their connections, their resources, improve upon all of the other glasses that come before them. Like I think this is a really dope product. So my takeaway from these glasses, like I'm cool with the battery life. The weight wasn't a thing. It wasn't like I was just like, oh, these things are so heavy on my face. Like I'm fine with that. I would like to see the legs on the glasses get thinner, so I could slide them in a motorcycle helmet, or like if I'm racing on the track or something. That would be awesome. Also, I would like to see the Ray-Bans get the 5-minute recording just like the Oakleys, and also the IP rating as well, so they would be a little bit more durable. So I'm not constantly worried about the investment that's on my face and if they're going to survive. Also, as I mentioned earlier, I would like to see a better integration with our smartphones just to be able to access some of those other apps, or so I can at least let people see what I'm seeing without having to record it, upload it to my phone, and then send it to somebody. If I could just do it on the fly, almost like a webcam, I think that would be really cool. So, I guess at the end of the week testing these glasses, the one thing that I kept asking myself is, who needs these glasses? Like, do I need these glasses? And like for the Bluetooth music, I would just put in an earbud and it sounds better. For anything that pops up, if I'm not immediately just driving, I pull out my phone and I can record longer and it looks better. And just for sunglasses in general, like I'm probably going to buy a $15 pair off of Amazon and I can play sports all day and not have to worry about if those get snapped in half. And if they do, I'll just buy another pair. So I guess every strong point for these glasses, I was always thinking like, yeah, but I could just do this. So for me, I don't think that with this version of the glasses that I necessarily need them, because there's always a, well, I could just do this and it's always the better option. Now, I have seen content creators use these and I've seen some pretty cool ideas that have been presented. So for me, it may be a no, but other people have found a way to use these and make some really cool things. So it just depends on who you are and what your use case is. So that's probably the best way I can put it for these glasses. Really cool, but not for everyone, especially with that price tag. But with that being said, let me know what you think about these glasses in the comments. And as always, take care.